Well, shooters and reloaders out there, Fortune Cookie 45 LC coming to the hot lead zone. And what you see here is a couple of pieces of brass taken from the range, and it is PMC 223 brass. Now PMC and Fiocchi are very easy to find at the range because it's very reasonably priced brass, but it also happens to be very good brass. So I recommend that you go ahead and start accumulating this. So I've got some PMC brass already, and I just got some more. And now to process it together, let's use our Lee 4-die sets. So your Lee 4-die reloading set for the 223 gives you the maximum versatility to reload 223. What we have here is a full-length sizing die, which can be used just by itself, or if you want to be more appropriate and really adjust the brass well for your rifle, you can use an RCBS precision mic or a Hornady case comparator to adjust the headspace of your brass to be in concordance with your rifle. Now suppose you have a bolt gun or a AR. You can determine the headspace of your chamber by using this to measure your fired brass. Then you resize that fired brass to be anywhere from 0.001 to 0.003 short of that headspace to give you the proper functioning and safety. Now this brass can be reloaded just as is and worked up for accuracy, and if you find that it works out real well for you, that's all you need to do. And that'll work for your bolt gun, but especially for your AR, because you do need to full-length resize for AR rifles for best functioning. But if you only full-length resize and don't pay attention to the headspace requirements, you could have some problems with certain kinds of brass fired in certain kinds of rifles. So best to use the precision mic and stay safe with your headspace and do it that way. Now if you have a bolt gun, you have the extra versatility to use the fire brass from your bolt gun, and that'll be fire form brass, and then all you need to do is use the Lee neck sizing collet die to resize the neck only and leave the rest of the case alone, since it has been fire formed for your bolt gun. Then the neck will be properly sized to hold the bullet, so you can do your reload. This works well for bolt guns because you have the camming action of the bolt to make up for any problems with the fit of the case to the chamber being a little bit on the close side. But this will give you best accuracy possibilities with bolt guns. So this is a very versatile die set. Now let's go ahead and go back to our PMC brass and build up our supply. What we have here is a sour cream jug full of PMC brass, all wet tumbled, and it's ready to load. It's been bump sized to minus 0.002, as I'll show you here. Here's my RCBS precision mic, and you see there it is at minus 0.002. You can get that in focus. And this is perfect for my Remington 700 police model rifle. So there you go. And what I have here is 200 rounds of PMC brass, fresh off the range. There were these 3 guys shooting PMC ammo with their ARs, and they had their girlfriends along, and they just left all this brass on the range, so I just kept picking it up. Before I knew it, I've got about 200 rounds here. They were shooting all afternoon. Well, their ARs typically are going to give us precision mic readings somewhere around +3 or 4, and you see right there it's +3. So it's pretty consistent between plus 1 to 3 between their 3 ARs. So what I'm going to do is to go ahead and bump size these to minus 0.002, and then when I'll get that all wet tumbled and it'll look just like this, and I'll add it to that brass and we're ready to go. Now if I really wanted to go ahead and organize it some more, I would organize according to the weight. I'd weigh them and separate it out, but what then you have maybe 5 stacks of weighed brass, and then you've got all these odds and ends of weighed brass. So if we can get good accuracy out of this brass the way it is in bulk, then we got a good thing going for us. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So here's a bunch of that brass that's been sprayed with the Midway Minute Lube and sprayed a little bit into the necks also. And the beauty of doing this before you wet tumble, is that when you do wet tumble, you'll get it all polished and cleaned, including all the insides. So all that lube you got in there is all being taken care of. And by doing this, you don't hurt the dies at all because there's no grit on them. This came right off a concrete floor at the range. So no problem there. Dies will not be injured. I've got my Lee full length 223 sizer die adjusted with a Forester lock ring to bump size to 0.002 minus 0.002. So into the Forester it goes, and all I gotta do is run all those cases through there, and here we go. So we put a case here, lube case, run it through. There's the depriming. Now there's the bumping. And if we go ahead and mic that, minus 0.002. Can you see that? Just a hair more than 0.002 on that one. Not in focus. But there you go. So we'll just go ahead and do them all now. Incidentally, I spray lube my cases behind me in a nice sheltered area and away from the bench, away from primers, this kind of thing. And then I use this rag to lift it over here, and I got it sitting on a piece of tile that keeps your bench clear. And by the way, if you bump a case twice, in other words, you run it through the die twice, it does not increase the bump. You still get the minus 0.002 and no more. Incidentally, when you spray lube your cases, it's only important to spray lube the inside of the neck and this part of the shoulder maybe a third of the way down, because what happens is when you're running it through your die, the lube gets carried down the case. So it's kind of like a bowling alley. When you're bowling, the lube gets carried down the lane as you're bowling. So the same thing applies here. You don't have to spray the whole case all the way to the head. Also neat is that when I do one strip of cases on this rag, is 20 cases. So this is the 4th run, so that I've done 80. Kind of helps you keep count of how many cases you're doing. Sometimes it's important to know how many cases you're doing so that you can keep track. Plus, I will use the precision mic every once in a while to verify that I'm getting my 0.002 of bumping. So you can get a pretty good rhythm going, and it won't take you long to run 200 of these. Only thing hard is trying to stay out of the way of the camera. Now you notice I'm not letting the cases fall a long way before I put them into the receptacle over here, because I don't want to damage the case necks as I'm doing this, so I don't want to drop them a long way. Now one question you might ask is that, is this going to be okay to use in any rifle? And the answer is yes, because what we're doing is getting brass ready to fire form for our rifle of choice, and by bumping to the minus 0.002, you're actually also full length resizing the rest of the case as well, so that basically this will be usable in any 223 rifle. And because we have it at 0.002, we know that we are within SAMI specifications for safety. Just so happens that this is going to be perfect for our Model 700 Remington police rifle, because we know that that one wants the brass at 0.001, minus 0.001. So we're bumping it back a thousandths from the ideal for the 700, and that gives us good functioning along with good accuracy. Now once I have fired these in the Remington 700 police rifle, then this brass will be fire formed to the chamber of that particular rifle, and then I can simply just use the Lee collet sizing die to size the necks for the next go around to do my precision reloading and do any load development, or if I have a good load already, then I can just load that load and know that I've got performance that I want. Well, look at this. 188 cases. That's 180 plus 8. 188 only, not 200 like I thought. Those AR boys were holding out on me. Those rats. Well, 188's not a bad number. So let's go ahead and check that last one for the precision mic and see what the reading is on this very last case right here. Here's our precision mic. Case in there. Looks like 0.003. Well, that's not bad. Anything from 2 to 3 is fine. So there's the unit running. We got the Lemmy Shine and the Dawn in there, and I also mixed in a whole bunch of 44 Magnum brass, because the 44 Magnum and the 223 will not lock together, and they're easy to separate, so it's okay to mix them together. So let that run for an hour and a half, and we'll come back and go ahead and process that. Now, of course, we pour this wastewater into the toilet because we don't want to pour it directly into the ocean. This way the water will go into a treatment plant and it'll separate the solids out and this kind of thing, so that we don't get contamination of the ocean. Now, of course, we can have multiple uses here too, but you see how dirty that water was. You can look past those suds. So shooters and reloaders out there, we just got our brass all tumbled and dried, and see how nice it looks, and now we're ready to add that to our other PMC brass. By the way, we checked the overall length, and this is still well within the overall length that's acceptable, so it has not exceeded the maximum overall length. Probably next time we fire these, some will be over, so we'll have to trim then. But we'll go ahead and add these to our jug. So, shooters and reloaders out there, we can build up a good supply of excellent brass, and didn't cost a thing because we got it from the range and we got a lot of it, and that's what you need when you're doing reloading for precision shooting. See you next video. Bye for now.